First of all, I just gotta say thank you, God. You know, um, it takes a lot of me every day, but as a target individual, I'm gonna lose my mind. If, in the sense that's what they want me to do. And I'm agitating this low life because it's provoking them to see the reality that they're trying to escape from, and what they don't want to be accountable to be part of. They wanted to recreate this thing in the way they painted things. No, and you know what you're involved in, and I can see now, or I can understand, or I can hear them now, how they're just trying to. They know what they're involved in. I know they always knew. There's no escaping that. But hearing them saying, "Oh, for you it's fair," I heard a perp saying that, and it made me understand. It's like, okay, well, so you know who's not fair to then, huh? Who is it not fair to? Like women and children in this program. So at that point, I'm like, okay, you just made my points. I know that you know what you involved yourself. That's doing things that's so unfair to even children and women. But yet, you're so brave and daring that you join that does so much unfair things to women and children. And some of them have participated in the unfairness. And so what do one deserve that's involved in something that does something so much unfairness to so many women and children? Would death be something? These clowns are this disgusting trash. I see them truly for the opportunities that they are. And reality is constructed by perps that are compromising levels that's unbelievable. They even get frustrated. They get mad by the fact that I know what they do to children and women. It's like they get mad. Like anger. It's not the anger of hearing women being tortured or hearing children being tortured. No. It's being mad to hear what the involved in does to women and children. It's like they get mad that the bubble they created is burst. And they deserve more than a bubble being burst. That's a fact. And I ask God, but also it's going to take a lot of restraint to not lose it. When I see them trying to, because what's happening is like to try to negate the reality of the evilness that they're part of and the atrocities that they involve themselves in. They act extra aggressive and enraged in thinking that they can negate what's happening. Now, let me just calm myself down and be able to express myself and articulate the way I want to articulate, because it's important to me that I say things in a way that's somewhat comprehensive, because it's hard to describe what's happening to me. But I think at this point, maybe not all videos, but most of my videos have been comprehensible enough. And I want to keep it like that. I've made thousands of videos at this point, and I know the video seems to be the same. Now it becomes something that I do on a routine thing. It's a way for me to be able to express myself, and it has helped me keep reality of what's happening. Let me just start off with what I've always started off by saying. I'm what you call a targeted individual. That's the terminology that was used, or that's being used, or they've been using to describe what's happening to people who are being utilized as test subject by the government. And what's happening is there's all kind of tactics, technology that are meant to break somebody down mentally, physically, psychologically, and dismantle their life. But for the purpose of developing technology that is being weaponized. It's a very well organized, orchestrated program with almost limitless funding. Because wherever you go in the world, it follows you. You will see what's happening to you in the middle of a third world country village to the biggest city of the world. And it's a program that's clearly being managed, orchestrated by governmental entities connected to the Department of Defense, or actually the DoD. The technology that's being applied onto us is so advanced, but it's been also worked on for decades by the Department of Defense. But also, there seems like there's an expertise that comes from intelligence community, because not only the technology is altering your mind and doing all these things, but there's also a systematic tactic to make the target individual subscribe to the manipulation that the technology is able to do, but on top of that, to brainwash the target individual into accepting these manipulations, to identify with this. It's basically tactics that are manipulative and by design, and designed in that way. It's like two type of things happening to me at the same time, but to other target individual. But I've heard that being said by a lot of target individual. There's so many repetitive things said over and over and over. There is scripts of things that said when to say, how to say it. It's meant to disorient the target individual. It's meant to break down the target individual, but it's also meant to make the target individual not think in this logical way, in unrational way, in a nonsensical way. And it's obviously that it's designed in a certain way. The participants, some of them are even children, because what's happening is, and based on our observance, there is definitely a lot of civilians involved in this, a lot of non-governmental individuals involved in this, and it's clear that they are just aiding and participating in this program. Are they contracted? I'm sure that there's some kind of financial benefit. I can speak. It's only speculative to understand how much, but I'm sure they make it worth their time, and I'm sure financially too. But also, I'm sure there's plenty of participants who participate just to be able to be involved in the involvement of this level of advanced technology. The enjoyment of participating in a program that utilizes technology of that nature. It's clear. Now, this external aspect of the manipulation, which is what we call perps participation, is full of theatrics, gimmickiness, and it appears that they're doing it for the purpose of breaking you down and make you acceptive of these false narratives. And for me, the narratives are a few. The first narrative that they want me to subscribe to, that is the falsified narrative, is to identify with what's happening to me, as if I'm not being manipulated, but technology that's been developed to manipulate the brain and control the mind. This technology is technology that the Department of Defense have been working since the 50s, and this incentive to create technology of that nature started after the Korean War and during the Cold War. Since then, it seems there's been a lot of effort from these entities to work on technology that can alter the mind, control the mind. And since the 50s, there's been that effort and this investment from Department of Defense and other entities in the intelligence community. And even then, they were able, and I'm talking about the 50s and the 60s, they're able to do things that are just hard to believe that they were able to do already. Emotions could be evoked already. Sexual arousals could be evoked already. There's books from people like Jose Delgado literally showing that he's able to make a subject have sexual arousal from human beings from animals to human beings. His pioneering work was so impressive that New York Times in 1970 wrote an article specifically about what this man was able to do. And in that article, they even brought up the fear of what this means and what people are scared of. And one of the fear and what can be this technology can be implying is, well, today in 1970, in the 60s, our computers are this level, but you can only imagine, and this is what they were saying in 1970, in the future, how fast and more powerful these computers are going to be. So today we can manipulate the brain to have sexual arousals and stimulation, and it's limited in certain ways. But in the future, with the level of computing system that will be available, the supercomputers of the future, and the same talking in the 70s, 1970, it will be a matter of time where thought can be implanted and other manipulation, and the mind will be completely controlled. Now, fast forward to 2025, you can only imagine the level of advancement, and what this man said in the 70s was obviously the truth, because he didn't say anything that's so clairvoyant. He said the obvious. Today we can do that, but hey, imagine with the technology that's coming up in the future, what can we do with the computer system? Today the computers are like that, and we're able to do that. Imagine the computers of 2025 then. And it's clear that there's not even comparison between the supercomputers of today and the supercomputers of 1970. Let's just say that my phone might be more powerful than the most powerful computer they had in 1970. And my cell phone is not the most updated one. So of course, the evolution of this technology consists of complete manipulation of the brain in a more precise and thought process level of manipulations. And I know that because I experienced that. I know who I am, and I understand who myself would experience naturally and not experience naturally. And a lot of these experiences I'm experiencing, if not all of it, is being manipulated, especially when they do that toward the babies and the children. That I know is them manipulating my brain. Even women, sometimes they do that just to create this confusion, because they want me to think that they're not manipulating my brain, but they're examining and assessing my brain. So they make me have sexual stimulation toward a woman that feels the same that when they make me have the sexual stimulation toward these children, and be like, oh, it's a match. That's how stupid things are. And my sense of rationality and logicalness is being destroyed by retards wanting me to identify with these things. Right now, my thoughts are going everywhere to try to make me accepting of that. Now, this is what they want me to subscribe to. That I'm not being manipulated to have this nasty reaction to children, but I'm being mapped, mined, and all of these kind of things they say, but manipulated, but controlled to have these experiences, which they design to experience. The second thing they want me to believe, that this is a group of protectors of women and children, and it's the money of these child protective individuals, feminists, women avengers, and not this massive government that's been utilizing this technology onto women and children. Now, to make me subscribe to these two things, there's this whole ecosystem that is utilizing this basic textbook-like manipulations. That today, a quick Google search for brainwashing and deflection came up with this list of things, And I highlighted about 5 bullet points that just made so much sense to what they were doing to me, because I've been describing what this bullet points say. But seeing that coming up as one of the result of, that the AI, the Google AI comes up, just shows how obvious this thing is, that it's just super textbook. And you'll see a video about that. The way they try to disorient you, or the nose campaign, to make you have no sense of logical sense. The fear tactics to make me identify with this manipulation. Every time they manipulate me, oh, you're gonna get raped. The deflections. The way they want me to, and they have this thing. I swear to God, it came out of Google. There's something about guilt and shame, and they use that to try to break down the resistance that you have in regard of resisting the fact that they want you to think that they're protecting children, and resisting the fact that they want you to think that you're not being manipulated. To break that resistance, they bring out what they can to make you identify with these things that they make you experience today. To make you think that these people are this group of avengers, and they go systematically. For example, I always bring up what I did when I was a child. They've been trying to exaggerate that. They're like, nah, that's abuse, when in truth it's just an inappropriate act of a child in middle school. They've been trying to make it worse. They've been trying to do all of it. And the truth is, they're using that to try to make me acceptive, to remove the resistance that I have in regard of thinking that I'm not being manipulated. Of course, I know I'm being manipulated. To make me think that I'm not being manipulated, they bring that up. And they have to exaggerate what I did as a child to even minimize the resistance. And it's clear that's what they're doing. They're also bringing up Corny and Brini to resist the fact that they're not Avengers. Like, resist the resistance of me seeing them as avenging fierce feminists, when in truth they're involved in a program that is raping women so commonly, that is one of the most common torture applied onto target individual. So many of them are dying, suffering, destroyed. They do atrocious things to these women. Matter of fact, to compensate for the obviousness and the horribleness of what they do to women, they tell me, oh, they're gonna rape you this, and it's like, you can rape me more, you can torture me more. It's not gonna negate the fact that you are torturing and raping women and dismantling their life. You actually just try to compensate for the reality of what you're involved in. And it's funny, I was on the call with this woman, and they're so full of shit. It's crazy. And I think I call her because they don't care about Corny and Brini. It's clear. How do I know they don't care about Corny and Brini? Because they don't care about all these thousands of women being raped and tortured in this program every day. They dare to join that program that is raping women all around the world, that's breaking them down, that's killing them. For Brini and Corny, yeah. No. They dare to be involved in a program that rapes women and destroys them to benefit from that. They don't give a F about Corny or Brini. And to see them, even on the calls with this woman, and I was playing all the testimonies of black women, white women, all women being tortured all around the world. And she said, I don't care. I was like, I know. I think in their mind they think I play these things to get to the good hearts. Trash. When in truth is, I'm just playing that to say, I'm seeing you for what you're involved in. I don't care, but I'm not trying to get to you disgusting trash. You're a piece of low life. That's what I'm trying to say here. I'm saying that you don't care about Corny because you're involved in this. I'm saying you're trash. You're a piece of shit. You're an opportunist fuck. Excuse my language. But I know you don't care about Corny because of that. And yes, you don't care. That's my point. Oh, let me just think. You don't care about this woman dying and being tortured, but you care so much about Corny and Brini. Get the F away. You piece of trash. You're just an opportunist. And then it goes all in hand with the memory manipulations. The technology that can manipulate your memory, and to see that the fear today with this technology called MMTs, which is the technology MMT stands for memory modification technology, is, at least this in the civilian world, there's already advancements in the civilian sector of the ability of falsifying memories. So you can only imagine the technology that's coming from DARPA in regard to memory manipulation. You can imagine how much more advanced. DARPA is the Department of Defense Advanced Technological Agency. It stands for Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. All the technology that we have today started from these entities first, then 40 years later pass it down to the civilian world. Computers, years ahead, this defense technology, this defense agency had those. Then when after decades later they pass it to the civilian world. Even internet, defense stuff, then pass to the civilian. GPS, defense things, then pass it to the civilian. That's how it goes with technology. There's so much way ahead of us that by the time we get the technology, they're already like 40 years later on with more other stuff. So this MMTs from the DARPA, you can only imagine the level of manipulation that they can already have. While today's MMTs in the civilian world, they're already scared of what it means to be able to have this technology. Guess what's the fear? If you're able to alter somebody's mind, could that change how somebody identify themselves? If it's used to harm somebody, would that disorient somebody's self-identity? Yes, they've applied that to me too, in hope that I'm going to identify with the current experiences. So they make me have memories, falsify those memories, create something that wasn't there, put perception that weren't there, put sensation that was there, that wasn't there, and then try to make me accepting of that, and then tell me that's the word map, and you see, you experience that then, when in truth they falsify the memories, then bring up what they do to me today. Then use this ecosystem of this trash, using these tactics to brainwash you. Everything is done systematically. It's foul. But it's clear that they do this for the purpose. And they try to vilify you to make you be less resistant in this new belief, these new narratives. They bring up whatever they can. It's like, oh, but remember the nightclub, you grab this. It's like, okay, so you think that I'm going to let you bring that up when you're here burning vaginas. Okay, yeah, that will happen. Delusional trash. You just want me to see you in this fashion. You want me to identify with this thing. I know I'm never going to identify with this. It's funny, I was talking to somebody who called me, who's a perp, who's a friend. Well, he's a friend that's becoming a perp. I know if I'm around him, he's going to do his thing. But so nasty. But we used to go to this nightclub in our late teens, early 20s. Go there, and it's funny. They're like, oh, the name of the place we call, let's just call it Mission. It's like, oh, it's our mission. It's like, oh, this guy's, I guess he's on a mission too, huh? Yes, it's not fair. These clowns are retards. They're gonna just stay strong. I think what's happening is like they didn't brainwash me in the sense of like I think it's me. I think I'm not being manipulated. No, I'm being manipulated. There's nothing I can do. I have to accept that. But I accept that I'll never be myself. So I don't identify with this nastiness. They do these things disturbing me, and they're meant to break me down. When I see these little babies, they're gonna make me have the stimulation that they want me to experience. They make me think of the person who don't care. There's a blur of a child. Stimulation. And say, oh, we mapped it. You had that experience when you were a kid. No. You're making me experience that. And by the way, the kid couldn't even see just a blur of a child. That's it. Now even hearing your child, they can stimulate me and be like, oh, does it not feel like you felt like that, like when you were a kid? No, you're playing with my brain to make me experience that. You just gotta be strong. And the trash, the more obvious it is they manipulate you, the more fanatical they get. To negate the obviousness here. Target visual. You'll see a video soon that I'm gonna try to take my time, organize my thoughts, and make sure to be as comprehensive as I can. But it's super obvious what this is about. And you gotta be strong to not fall for what's being presented to you. It's a facade, it's a fraudulent thing in front of you. It's nothing. These ways of doing things come from some kind of intelligence community or some DoD entity. This is way too systematic. This is way too thought through. And the purpose here are not that. They're like children. Well, they are children. As I say that, they try to fool. There's no way they can come up with the concept of how we can manipulate if we say this, and then we say, it's clear that they give them some kind of outline in what direction, what needs to be said, how it needs to be said, when you say it, and why it's this, when it's time to say that, when to make the nose campaign, all of that. It's clear there's some kind of managing of that from entities that definitely are in charge, not these clowns. Target visual, stay strong.